I am very tired. This food is very good. That movie was very interesting. The weather is very hot. Now let me ask you something. How many times have you used the word very today? Take a moment and think about it. Have you used it once, 5 times, or so many times that you have lost count? In this video, I will show you why you need to stop using the word very all the time and how you can replace it with stronger, more precise words that will make your English clearer and more powerful. Let's learn to speak this way. Here is the truth. There is nothing grammatically wrong with the word very. It is a correct word, it is simple, and it is easy to use. However, when you use it too often, your English becomes repetitive, less precise, and less expressive. Let me explain this clearly. When you say very big, you are not being specific. When you say very good, you are not being expressive. When you say very tired, you are not being clear enough. Now let me ask you another question. If everything is very something, how do we know exactly what you mean? This is the real problem. The issue is not grammar. The issue is lack of precision. For example, if someone asks you, how was the movie? And you respond by saying, it was very good. Your answer is correct, but it is weak. It does not give enough information, and it does not leave any strong impression. Now compare that to this. You could say it was amazing. You could say it was fantastic. You could say it was brilliant. Now your message is clearer and stronger. So the goal of this lesson is simple. You need to stop depending on the word very and start choosing better, more precise words. Let us go through some very common examples. When you say, I am very tired today, a better way to express that idea is to say, I am exhausted. This is more precise and more powerful. Now think about your own speech. Do you often say, I am very tired? When you say, I am very hungry, a better sentence would be, I am starving. When you say it is very cold, you can say it is freezing. When you say it is very hot today, you can say it is scorching. Now let me ask you something. If the weather is extremely hot, will you still say it is very hot? Or will you say it is scorching? Let us continue. When you say that house is very big, a better sentence would be that house is huge. When you say this room is very small, you can say this room is tiny. When you say the car is very fast, you can improve that sentence by saying the car is incredibly fast, or even the car is lightning fast. Now, think about this carefully. Which sentence sounds better to you? The car is very fast, or the car is lightning fast? Let us now look at some everyday sentences that people use all the time. When someone says, this food is very good, a better sentence would be, this food is delicious. When someone says, the exam was very easy, you can simply say the exam was easy, or you can say the exam was simple. When someone says the exam was very hard, a better sentence would be, the exam was difficult, or the exam was tough. When someone says, I am very happy, a stronger sentence would be, I am thrilled. When someone says, I am very sad, a better sentence would be, I am upset, or even, I am devastated, depending on the situation. Now, let me pause and ask you a question. Which one do you usually say? Do you say, I am very happy, or do you say, I am thrilled? Let us talk about why people overuse the word very. Most people use very because it is easy, it comes to your mind quickly, and in many cases, you may not know a better word to use. So instead of thinking carefully, you say very, very, very again and again. However, this becomes a habit, and over time, it limits how well you can express yourself. Fluent English speakers do not depend heavily on the word very. Instead, they choose stronger and more specific words that communicate their ideas clearly. So here is a simple rule you should remember. Anytime you're about to say very followed by an adjective, you should pause and ask yourself if there is a better word you can use. Let us try a quick exercise together. If I say, I am very angry, what would be a better way to say that? You could say, I am furious. If I say, the movie was very bad, a better sentence would be, the movie was terrible. If I say, she is very beautiful, you could say, she is stunning. Now think about your own speech again. Do you naturally use these stronger words, or do you usually fall back to very? At this point, it is important to say something clearly. You do not need to completely remove the word very from your English. It is still a correct and useful word. However, you should not overuse it, and you should not rely on it all the time. If you continue to say very good, very nice, very big, and very small, your English will remain basic. It will be correct, but it will not be impressive. On the other hand, when you begin to use words like delicious, tiny, exhausted, and brilliant, your English becomes clearer, stronger, and more confident. Now, let me ask you one final question. Which word do you overuse the most? Is it very good, very tired, or something else? I want you to write your answer in the comments. Also, I want to give you a simple challenge. From today, start paying attention to how often you use the word very. When you catch yourself using it, pause and try to replace it with a stronger word. This small change will make a big difference in how you speak. If you found this lesson helpful, subscribe for more practical English lessons that will help you speak clearly, correctly, and confidently in real-life situations. I will see you in the next video.